Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This will be the first part of my How to Crochet series, and this will be all the things you might like to know before you start. I myself have learnt how to crochet from YouTube tutorials, and after 4 years I'm still going strong. I hope to share with you my original patterns and in this series of videos all the things that I have learnt along the way. Firstly, you need to be aware that there are two versions of crochet stitches, US and UK. I follow the US standard. Ultimately, they use the same stitches, but they have different names, so I would advise to check the patterns you follow carefully to make sure you are using the same stitches. Before we even start making stitches, you must know how to hold your yarn. Everyone holds their yarn differently, so please don't try to copy my technique. You'll find what is naturally comfortable to you. The general idea is that you have free movement of the yarn, so it doesn't restrict your work. I can't advise for left-handed crocheting, but if you are right-handed, your right hand will hold the hook and create the stitches, while the left hand will have two jobs: to feed the yarn into your work and also hold your work steady for your right hand to stitch. Crochet hooks come in the same length but different thicknesses. When it comes to which hooks to use for which yarn, it's really easy, as most yarn will have the suggested size of hooks to use on the label. I generally use DK or double knit, which requires a 4mm hook. The thicker the yarn, the larger hook; the thinner the yarn, the smaller hook. Other crochet essentials are stitch markers. I tend to place my stitch marker in the last stitch of the row, then you can count the rows easily after. You'll also need a sewing needle to sew limbs or to stitch details on. You'll need lots of stuffing to pad out your work, and I use poly balls or polyester balls where I can, as they create a lovely shape and avoids a lumpy project. You can get these online or at your local craft shop in all shapes and sizes. You might like to get some safety eyes and noses if you don't fancy stitching them on, but make sure that the backs are pushed on securely to make them safe. And the most essential item, the scissors. One important thing I learned in the early days was when you are starting your work from a tight circle and increasing slowly, your work may start to go inside out. Although this isn't the worst thing, it does make a difference in the final result. Once you start working in the round, you will notice that one side is neater than the other. It took me a couple of scruffy toys to notice this, but the best way to avoid this happening is to imagine crocheting clockwise around the face of the clock. This way, the scruffy side remains inside and the smoother finish on the outside. And lastly, I shall impart with you the most valuable bit of information I have learned in my 4 years of crocheting. Do not, whatever you do, let the little ones near your yarn. It is not worth the hours of untangling for 2 seconds of their joy. I really hope you enjoyed this introduction to crocheting, and if you like and subscribe, you'll be notified in the coming days when part 2 of my How to Crochet series is released, starting off the magic ring and the slip knot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you back here soon.